Donald Trump, let's not forget about him. He got a very critical endorsement this week from a one just like a He-Man left out in the sun with way too many roids, even though he's an anti-vaxxer. RFK Jr. dropped out of the presidential race and endorsed Donald Trump for president. He's already campaigning with him. And it is incredibly scary, but a little bit less so. Remember, the reason this is happening is because RFK did not account for Biden dropping out. And as soon as Biden dropped out, RFK Jr.'s numbers, it was very low. They just sank. And Kamala's numbers rose. And so, obviously, we all knew that was going to happen, and it did. And so then he went barking up the coconut tree to try and see if there was a cabinet position for him in the Kamala Harris administration, should they be elected. No one even met with him. And he was like, fine, I'll just go over to my other, fake spray tan man and ask him for probably one of the scariest positions ever. I don't even know what he was promised, but you can bet it's creepy. But here he is endorsing Donald Trump.
One of the two candidates has adopted these issues as his own, to the point where he has asked to enlist me in his administration. I'm speaking, of course, of Donald Trump. I was a ferocious critic of many of the policies during his first administration. We were aligned with each other on other key issues, like ending the forever wars, ending the childhood disease epidemic, securing the border, protecting freedom of speech.
So that was just a sampling. There was a lot more. He basically sounded like an Elon Musk Twitter feed come to life. The free speech, the DNC colluded against me, all of these dark forces. But then that is truly terrifying that he is going to work on fighting childhood disease. This is someone who's responsible for the death of people, including children in America Samoa, from casting doubt on the measles vaccine. If there was any more reason to not vote for Trump or to vote for Harris, however much it pains you, the idea that fucking RFK Jr. could be like the head of Health and Human Services is absolutely terrifying. The guy looks like...
he did have a black brain surgeon, the head of HUD. So, that makes perfect sense.
This would have been scary had it happened 3 months ago, Alex. But now, RFK Jr. I don't even know who. Again, it's like Tulsi. It's almost as insignificant as Tulsi Gabbard endorsing Donald Trump.
Yeah, I think it's probably good news for the Harris campaign too. I think the worst case scenario is him dropping out but not endorsing. And this, I think that you're seeing there's again. I've been bitching about the Biden people, but the people running the Trump campaign are infinitely dumber, and they're trying to make this case. I think because they've got a Kennedy, who, by the way, too, you're like he's worse dressed than Donald Trump, and his skin is somehow weirder looking too.
Yeah, why is he purple? He's
yeah,
straight Oompa Loompa.
I've been very close to him before, and his body is just so weirdly oriented. I don't understand it at all.
It's organic testosterone. We know that. We did a live show, Two Truths and a Lie.
Right.
Organic testosterone. That's what he's
I'll
on.
have to get on that myself. But I think that, they're trying to make this case like, look at us reaching across the aisle to this insane guy who cuts off whale heads and shoves his hand down dead bears' mouths and his dogs. Yes, who's nuts, and Tulsi, who's also nuts. And this is somehow the sign that they're kind of breaking through the middle. And the idea of moderate Trump, which was the thing that actually helped him win in 2016, was that he successfully convinced enough people that he was a break from the Republican orthodoxy that they didn't like, so that voters in Pennsylvania, Ohio was already good, but anyways, but Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin voted for him because they were like, okay, well, we hate free trade, right? And this guy's breaking from all that, and he seems a little different, and now that's not the case at all. There's a poll that came out today. Basically no one says that Trump is moderate anymore. They 40% say he's far right, 15% say he's right. It's just it's what you would
But
expect
the
there.
memes, Alex, look.
Yes.
Maha.
God.
Make America healthy again. This is RFK Jr. putting out an image of himself shaking Trump's hand.
What does that even
Maha.
mean?
I feel like it's a kind of tuna where that obviously a rare tuna that RFK Jr. has sawed the head off of and then strapped to his roof, which again
I'm
was a
surprised PETA
story.
isn't just following him around wherever he goes. I don't understand how this guy. I mean, he's maimed several animals,
Truly.
and PETA is nowhere to be found. Where are you?
I got like, so we did 2 truths and a lie, and truly, like, I didn't even know this story of, yes, his daughter telling Town and Country a few years ago that RFK Jr. ran down to a beach where he knew there was a beached whale, cut the whale's head off, bungee corded it to the roof of the family minivan for a 5-hour haul back to Mount Kisco, New York. Kit Kennedy, terrible name, said every time we accelerated on the highway, whale juice would pour into the windows of the car, and it was the rankest thing on the planet. We had plastic bags over our heads with mouth holes cut out, and people on the highway were giving us the finger. But that was normal day-to-day stuff for us. I mean, they're really pivoting from the weird moniker. They're just able to just shirk the weird, super normal stuff. Who among us?
One of the funniest things about that story is that I think it only surfaced because Kit Kennedy is Ben Affleck's new girlfriend. I'm Team J-Lo on this one, but yeah, I think that people were like, "Who's Kit Kennedy?" and found this story, which is incredible. But so
instead of like Bennifer, it's going to be like Bennick. Like
how is that going to
play?
Kin. But this is like when 2016 and in 2020, I mean, they're obviously a large group of people that are dogmatic voters who will vote for Trump no matter what. But he won because he convinced people that it was a calculated risk, that people that hated the political system saw this guy and they're like, he's a billionaire. Like we've always wanted a businessman as president.
Right.
And he's a little crazy, but we need a little crazy because the system that exists right now doesn't work. But to do that, you can't surround yourself by people that are even crazier than you. And like, this is what's consistently happened here. Is like he can't pivot back to normal. And like the campaign is just spinning out of control. And one of the things with the embrace of Kennedy is it's clearly a result of the fact that, one, he's not the campaigner that he was even 4 years ago. So he needs people to go out on the trail for him. Sure. And then 2, JD Vance, his vice presidential pick, is a fucking disaster. Like doesn't work for anybody. So you're trying to find new surrogates, but your surrogates keep getting more and more crazy.
Right. And I do think like there's all this like, oh, we're not the establishment. We're the outsiders. We're the like, or you're all just fucking weird, bro. Like, could it be that anti-establishment cannot hold a normal conversation, cannot order donuts like a human in JD Vance's case, doesn't think that like vaccines work, believe in like ridiculous, like, just like, could it be that you are a misfit? It's a little bit of a like, well, for me, I just feel like some of the like liberal Zionists in my life, I'm like, I feel like there have been red flags about you this entire time. And now you're telling me that, Hamas is going to kill my kid. That's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you might just be a weirdo. You're not anti-establishment. My problem with Kennedy saying things like going after the forever wars, because that's a Tulsi Gabbard line, is number one, that Donald Trump increased, for example, the drone war by 400%. He dropped the mother of all bombs on Afghanistan. The person who pulled out of Afghanistan was Joe Biden. But that Democrats don't pick up, I think, the mantle that Trump left open for them, that he actually picked up in 2016, to your point, Alex, about being against free trade policies, being against forever war, or being against war, even though his solution is, let's just kill everyone. Why would we nation build? Which is obviously much more violent. But Democrats haven't been able to say, like, look, NAFTA was wrong. Maybe Bill Clinton shouldn't speak at the fucking DNC.
But he also said one of the reasons he was endorsing Trump is because he believes in free speech. I mean, Donald Trump just said he wants to jail people for burning the flag. He sued Bill Maher for a joke.
Yes.
I mean, he has been so anti-free speech. I mean, he wanted to try to use an insurrectionist law for, George Floyd protesters. It's like, how can you be standing up there saying this guy is a champion of free speech?
Absolutely.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, Nazi memes don't count.
Yeah, and he was, the other thing that's funny about this is that Kenny's just a terrible politician, but he's openly talking about the fact that he sold his endorsement, right? He was like, the idea that Harris wouldn't take a meeting with him was seen as this grave sin. And I think for Trump, like the deal maker, this is a great deal because you get Kennedy's votes and you don't have to do anything. You give him a CIA director position or something, but you see their inexpertise here as well. Like, there wasn't a road to Damascus moment in that press conference. I think like the free speech stuff, it just felt phony, right? Because he's just trying to come up with some rationale when that in fact, this is just this kind of corrupt bargain. And I think that it's one that will probably backfire for both of them. Yeah. But it only exposes the lack of seriousness here too.
And it's just so hard, like there's a thing, I think this is just a really random aside, but authenticity is something that really matters. And it has mattered ever since the internet kind of became a thing, and how we consume a lot of media, and our favorite creators have a thing about them, right? They seem kind of real. It's kind of what people liked about Trump and Bernie to begin with, was that they were kind of authentically themselves. One a racist, one an actual democratic socialist. But there was an authenticity, and people were kind of tired of the politics speak. And you can't get any more authentic than JD Vance and RFK Jr., two people who spent their political careers dumping all over Trump and then doing a massive 180 when it benefited them. It's the swampiest thing you could possibly do. And I just wanted to move to polling really quickly, because coming out of the DNC, the polling, speaking to that, the Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, not looking good for Mr. Trump. Harris has now taken a consistent, though narrow, lead in the blue wall states of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. She holds an average lead of about 3 points in Wisconsin and Michigan, but only a point in Pennsylvania, where both campaigns are spending the most. In the Sun Belt, former President Trump holds an almost 2-point lead in Georgia and is within 1 point in each of the other 3, North Carolina, Nevada, and Arizona. Still very tight, but tight in the opposite direction where it was when Joe Biden was the candidate.
Can I just say my disbelief at Donald Trump? All the things that he's done, he's sort of caused an insurrection, right? He fumbled COVID. He's made fun of handicapped people, of military people. He's called women bitches, grab them by the pussy. I mean, for the Republicans to be yelling DEI at every chance they can, for this guy to be within 2 points of Kamala Harris, tells you everything about America that you ever wanted to know. I mean, it says everything.
I mean, looking at it from abroad,
I'm just in disbelief.
Yeah, I think people are who don't live in this country are like, what the actual fuck? Like, are you kidding me? And you can't even you can't say, well, it's because it's a black woman, that he's running against. No, because it actually has helped her. And in fact, interestingly, in new polling, when you talk about race and gender, it only helps her farther. People like that she's a woman. People like that she's black, that she's Indian. Like that's helpful. Which is, anyway, don't tell the fucking centrists about that. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do it.